Hello, welcome to Big Old Games unboxing video of the new Shadows over Innistrad intro pack, Angelic Fury. My name is Simon and I'll be doing the unboxing today. So I'm going to assume you're watching this because you're sort of new to Magic. So what I'm going to do is just open the box up, rather destructively, and show you what you get inside. So you've got your pre-constructed 60 card deck, but that's not all you get in there. You also get in there two boosters and this leaflet. So the leaflet just on one side explains a little bit about the story of Shadows over Innistrad, and the story is probably my favourite part of Magic, so it's the bit I enjoy the most. So you get a little teaser for it there, and then you can check out the Magic the Gathering website for more stories. It explains your two boosters, which can be used for boosting your deck. Get it? Oh, so clever, so funny. And then on the other side, you have the intro deck list. So there's 5 intro decks for the set in total. I'm doing videos for all of them, so check them out if you're curious. And today we're going to be focusing on the Angelic Fury deck. Also explains a little bit at the bottom about how to play the deck and what's in there. This is useful for, say you've already started modifying the deck, or some of the cards have been lost or something. You can easily rebuild the deck back to what it was when you started. So then, onto the actual 60 card deck itself. So I have 2 boosters, we'll put those to one side. So let me just violently break through the plastic prison. So at the back here, you also get a little rules reference sheet. So if you are new to Magic, this is really useful to have next to you, just to remind yourself of just a couple of the little elements of the game. So about casting spells, also the setup, the turn order, and then obviously how to win. But if you need some more help, you can go to the Quick Start website, or the best thing to do is actually just go to your local store and ask if someone will help teach you how to play. I'm sure there'll be plenty of players who'll be willing to help teach you. But that's useful to keep next to you whilst you're learning to play. So onto the deck itself. So we have, first of all, Flameblade Angel. So this is a creature angel, so subtype is angel. It costs 6 mana in total to play, so 4 of any colour and then 2 red, so 6 in total. It's a rare, which is denoted by the colour, which is gold, and it's a 4/4, so 4 power and 4 toughness. And then its abilities, it has flying, and then one big ability, which is whenever a source an opponent controls deals damage to you or a permanent you control, you can have Flameblade Angel deal 1 damage to that source's controller. So this is really good. It's sort of like a retribution effect. It's really cool because when your opponent attacks you or casts spells at you that deal damage, you get to snip a little bit of life back off of them in return. So it's I really like Flameblade Angel. I think it's a really cool effect. So you only get one of these in the deck, unfortunately, though, but it just sort of highlights what the deck's about, which is just about almost pretty much raw damage and just dealing damage back to your opponent, showing us this Angelic Fury, which is a big part of the story of the set. So you get one of those in there. It's also an alternative art version, so the intro pack has this alternate art version. So if you pull a normal Flameblade Angel from a booster, it'll look different. The other rare in the pack is the Devil's Playground. So this is another 6 mana card. This time it's a sorcery though. And you get to put 4 1/1 red devil tokens onto the battlefield. And they have the following ability. When this creature dies, it deals a damage to target creature or player. So you get to attack with a little swarm of 1/1 devil minions. And then when they die, which inevitably 1/1 creatures do, you get to deal another damage. So again, a little bit more retribution there. And you get one of those. So onto the core of the deck. So we have here the Stern Constable. So he's a single white creature, human soldier, 1/1, and he has tap, discard a card to tap target creature. So it's a little bit of a cost, but you can tap down your opponent's creature, stop them from attacking with it. Plus discarding a card can trigger one of the abilities in the set called Madness, which we'll get to that later if we see it. But he's a human, and that's something we'll see quite a lot in this deck. So you get 2 of those. We have Embereye Wolf. He's a 2 mana 1/2 creature wolf who has haste, which means he can attack and tap the turn he comes into play, and pay 2, and he gets +2 power, +0 toughness until end of turn. So that's really cool. Just a nice little cheap wolf, put it into play and start punching your opponent in the face. And if you've got the spare mana later in the game, you can start pumping him up and doing even more damage. Again, you get 2 of those in there, and he's a wolf, which is the other part of the deck we will see. So you have a Devilthorn Fox, 2 mana creature fox, and he's a 3/1 with no ability. So he's what's called a vanilla, because sort of like vanilla ice cream, if you will. He has no abilities, just a nice simple 2 mana 3/1. So it's a nice what they call beat stick, and you get 3 of those. We have an Unruly Mob, 2 mana for a 1/1 creature human, which isn't good to start with, but he has, whenever another creature you control dies, put a 1/1 counter on Unruly Mob. So ideally you want to get this down turn 2 and let it build up over the course of the game into some truly magnificently terrifying Unruly Mob as more of your creatures die. And you get 1 of those in there. We have a Hellpack Wolf, 3 mana for a 3/3 creature wolf, and he can't block unless you control another wolf or werewolf, which is several in the deck, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. It just means when you initially play him, you might not be able to block with him, but then he's a 3/3, so you probably just want to be attacking anyway. And you get 2 of those. We have Cathar's Companion. He's a 3 mana 3/1 creature hound. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Cathar's Companion gains indestructible until end of turn. So this is quite an interesting one. You play an instant sorcery, enchantment, planeswalker, and he gains indestructible that turn. So even though he's only got 1 toughness, it just means he can really hit hard with that 3 power. And you get 3 of those. Then we have a Runaway Carriage. So it's a 4 mana 5/6 artifact creature construct. So it's an artifact creature and then constructs a subtype. Has trample, so any damage it does that in excess of a creature that's blocking its toughness is dealt to the opponent when it's attacking, so that's nice. And whenever Runaway Carriage attacks or blocks, sacrifice it at the end of combat. So it only gets to do this once, but it does it does what a Runaway Carriage does, which is tramples all over them. And you get 1 of those. We then have a Pyre Hound. So it's a 4 mana 2/3 creature elemental hound. It has trample as well. And whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, you get to put a 1/1 counter on Pyre Hound. So he's just going to keep getting stronger and stronger. And you get 2 of those. We have an Inspiring Captain. So it's a 4 mana 3/3 creature human knight. And when it enters the battlefield, creatures you control get +1/+1 till end of turn. So it's a nice big heroic ability. Good for a nice turn of swinging all out with your creatures and hitting your opponent hard. You get 2 of those in there. Then we have the mountains and the plains needed to play this red-white deck. And then we're on to spells. So we've got a Lightning Axe. So it's a 1 mana instant, so you can cast this at any time, including your opponent's turn. And as additional cost to cast it, you either have to discard a card or pay 5 additional mana. And it deals 5 damage to target creature. So this is good at just finishing off some of those big nasty creatures, just chopping them down with great big 5 damage. And you get 2 of those. Again, the discard's not too much of an issue, because if you get some of the madness cards in the set and can filter them into here, discarding even becomes beneficial at times. Rush of Adrenaline is 1 mana. It's an instant, and target creature gets +2 attack, +1 toughness, and trample until end of turn. So just buffing up someone, particularly something say like the Unruly Mob would be a good target for this, or Mr. Pyre Hound, because even though he's already got trample, you cast this, gets +2/+1, and then +1/+1 from its own ability. So very, very nasty creature. You get 2 of those. Griff's Boon. It's a 1 mana enchantment aura, so this goes onto a creature. It gives it +1 power, +0 toughness, and flying. And then pay 4 to return Griff's Boon from your graveyard to the battlefield attached to target creature. You can only do the same type of sorcery, so you can't do this on your opponent's turn, only in your own during the main phases. But it just means that one of the downsides usually to enchantment auras is when the creature dies, the enchantment goes with it. But this way you've got a way to at least, it's quite expensive, it's 4 times the price, but you can at least get it back from your graveyard and enchant something else with it. You get 1 of those. Magmatic Chasm, 2 mana sorcery, and creatures without flying can't block this turn. So that just means, this makes it so much easier to swing through into your opponent, to stopping them from being able to stop whatever you're doing. There's 1 of those. Nahiri's Machinations, it's a 2 mana enchantment, So this goes onto the field and stays in play as a permanent. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. So really good if you only have one creature because it's your one guy, or you just nominate someone each turn to be indestructible, so it stops your nice attacking line being destroyed. And then you can pay 2, and the Hero's Machination deals 1 damage to target blocking creature. So after you've cleared your attacks, your opponent starts to block. Say they're blocking with a bunch of 1/1s or something, deal the damage. Or use it to finish off something you know you're going to be dealing a lot of damage to. You get 2 of those. Angelic Purge, 3 mana sorcery. But as an additional cost to cast it, you have to sacrifice a permanent. But you do get to exile target artifact, creature, or enchantment. This is good. The additional cost of sacrificing permanent can feel a little bit steep, but being able to target artifact, creature, or enchantment means it's very versatile. Plus it exiles it, so there's no way your opponent can get it back from the exile. Whereas if you're with the graveyard, there are ways to get them back. Or in this set, there's a mechanic called Delirium, which cares about the graveyard. So what cards, and particularly what card types are in the graveyard. So that is quite useful. So Angelic Purge, you get one of those. We have an equipment, so it's a Murderer's Axe. It's 4 mana, and you put it into play by paying the 4, and then you equip it to a creature to use. So the equipped creature gets +2/+2, but you do have to discard a card to equip it. Which is slightly unusual. Most equipment you just pay a mana cost, but this one you have to discard a card. So in the deck as it is, discarding a card's not fantastic for attaching it, but the +2/+2 could be what you need to kill off your opponent, especially because of some of your tramplers and stuff. But if you mix some of the madness cards into here, that downside of the cost even becomes a positive to some degree. Dance with Devils is 4 mana instant. Put 2 1/1 red devil creature tokens onto the battlefield. They have, when this creature dies, it deals damage to target creature or player. So same as the one we saw before, the Devil's Playground. However, this is a slightly watered down version because you only get 2 of the devil tokens into play. You get 2 of those. We then have Inner Struggle, which is a 4 mana instant. Target creature deals damage to itself, equal to its power. So really good at finishing off with your opponent's big giant creatures because, well, they hit themselves. So that's quite cool. So you get 2 of those. And then lastly we have Dissension in the Ranks. 5 mana instant. Target blocking creature fights another target blocking creature. So you swing at your opponent with your attackers, your opponent then blocks a few of them, and then you make your opponent fight themselves. I love the flavour of that card. 5 mana is quite expensive, pardon me, but I love the flavour of that card. I think that's a really fun card, Dissension in the Ranks. So there we go, so that's everything that's in the intro pack itself. Now before I just give you an overview of it, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to quickly open these and have a look what's in here. So I'm not going to go through every card. If I think anything, another Angelic Purge, nice. If I think there's anything that would be useful for adding to the deck, like another Angelic Purge, then I'll point them out. Structural Distortion's kind of alright. It's 4 mana, exile target, artifact or land, and deal 2 damage to that permanent's controller. The catch only being that it's a sorcery and it is 4 mana, but this could be quite good actually. If you're new to Magic, I think that'd be quite fun to put in there. Reduced to ashes, not redundant ashes, reduced to ashes. 5 mana to deal 5 damage to a creature, and if it would die, exile it instead. However, we do have the lightning axes, which is similar, but you have to discard, but you only have to pay 1 then, so... Oh, we have one of the transform cards, Convicted Killer. In fact, we've got 2. Cool. So, Convicted Killer is a 3 mana 2/2. Let me just put these down. 3 mana 2/2. At the beginning of each upkeep, if no spells are cast, you can transform him to a Branded Howler. So he's a 4/4 werewolf. At the beginning of each upkeep, if the player casts 2 or more spells that turn, it transforms him. So he might go alright in here. There's quite a lot of spells in this deck, so you might not want to put him in because he might not actually get to transform, unfortunately. We have the Sage of Ancient Law, Biting Rain, Gloom Widow. We got Ravenous Bloodseeker, so this is good for the vampires. And Ever After is our rare. Oh, we've got a Human Soldier token. That's quite cool. So with the transform cards, because the backs of them obviously aren't normal Magic backs, inside they print these what they call proxy cards. So if you're not using sleeves, or your sleeves are transparent, see-through, etc., obviously putting these cards in the deck, you'd be able to see them. So what you do with these cards is mark which one it's meant to be which card it's meant to be representing, and the back of it's a normal magic back. So you get to put that in your deck, and then when you play the card, you just grab your card that it's marking, put it on top, and you can easily transform and stuff. But then you just keep the actual card itself to the side. So proxies are quite cool. Like I said, very good if, well, almost they are necessary if you're not using sleeves, or if you're using transparent, or even the coloured sleeves like the yellows and stuff, you can see through the back of them usually. So, oh, we've got another Devilthorn Fox, that's quite useful. Survive the Night. Vessel Vitality. Brilliant. Rider would be useful. Bamboo Moonsilver. Oh, Corrupted Graphstone as our rare. Oh, we got a foil Ulrich's Kindred, which is a really nice wolf, but unfortunately it's green in its ability, which we don't have access to green here. And a clue token. So there's a few cards in there that could be quite useful for adding into the deck, just maxing out some more of the ones we've only got, you know, a couple of cards of, because you can have 4 of each, so useful for that. But overall, this deck, out of all 5 of the intro packs for Shadows of Innistrad, this is probably the most straightforward of all the decks. There doesn't seem to be any particularly tricky setups or anything. It is purely drop down your humans and your wolves as quick as you can and punch your opponent in the face as hard as you can, metaphorically, with the cards. Because you've got a lot of trample, you've got a lot of abilities to buff them, a couple of evasions, which is the flying. So yeah, I think this is a very straightforward deck. If you're new to playing Magic and you want a deck that has, you know, there's not too steep a learning curve, you genuinely just want to play creatures, this is the one that you want to go for. Nice and simple to play. Just play your beat sticks and attack your opponent as much as you're allowed to within the rules of the game. So there we go. So that's everything that's in the Angelic Fury. I think if you're going to expand from here, I'd suggest maybe looking at 1 or 2 more of the angels from the set. The other route you could go is go down the human route, because there's a lot of humans in here. You could, you know, go with what they call tribal being, where you try and focus all on one type of creature. So you could go like a bit of a human tribal theme with this, or even the wolf theme, you could go with that. Maybe some more werewolves in here, switch out some of the white for the werewolves. But there's a lot of room here for growth and a lot of ways you can change it, a lot of directions it can go. So, you know, there's at least that aspect to it. So yeah, so that's everything. So if you have any questions or like to know anything, feel free to leave them in the comments below or just drop us a line. If you're curious, check out the other videos. I'll also be unboxing the other intro packs from Shadows of Innistrad, so if you want to know what's in those, check those out. As always, remember to like and subscribe. I hope you've enjoyed watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.